Hello there, my fellow film nerds. My name is our producer. You know, the guy who made those 3 movies about my cousin's dog named Teddy. And I'm starting a YouTube channel, as well as my own cinematic universe of movies. But before we get to that, let's talk about a 3-hour movie now in theaters called The Batman. Now, something not many reviewers mention is that Ben Affleck was originally supposed to produce, direct, and star in this film. But unfortunately, he dropped out of the project because of the tumultuous production of Justice League that killed his passion for the role. Thanks, Warner Brothers, you screwed up your universe times 4. It's interesting to me, personally, as to where the project could have gone with Affleck at the helm. But as for the movie we did get, oh boy, where do I begin with this masterpiece of cinema? To say that I love this film is an understatement. I adored this film. This is a shining example of how to do a Batman film so right. Now, I am a huge fan of Zack Snyder's DC films, so Ben Affleck will always be my favorite Batman. But I'd be lying if I said that Robert Pattinson as Batman and wasn't perfect casting. Many people out there are saying that he sucks as Bruce Wayne, but I think that's the point. This is Batman's second year of crime fighting, so he hasn't really mastered the Bruce Wayne persona just yet. He's still raw and broken from the murder of his parents. Speaking of which, oh my god, it is so refreshing to see a movie that doesn't actually directly show the murder of the Waynes. I guarantee that no director, not even Matt Reeves, could topple Snyder's portrayal of the event. However, even though the event is not directly shown, it plays a huge part in Batman's character arc throughout the film. The murder was motivated by a political cover-up. Say what? That's right. Spoiler alert, if you want to skip, I don't really have a timestamp, so we'll just have to skip this part. Thomas Wayne wanted to protect family secrets, specifically about Martha, in relation to his run for mayor. This reporter was going to expose the Wayne family secrets, so Thomas had him killed. That really caught me off guard. Throughout all these Batman movies, Thomas Wayne was portrayed as a morally upstanding citizen that was unfortunately murdered. But hold up, he did what in this movie? To be fair, Alfred later mentions that Thomas didn't want that reporter murdered when he hired Carmen Falcone, but I personally had no reason to believe Alfred's version of the story. Hear me out. I see Alfred's version of events in that hospital scene more as damage control. It's emotional damage control, certainly, but still damage control. Especially since Bruce was so upset about that, what else was Alfred to say? That, your father was a murderer? Or conspired to murder? That would not help Bruce at all. Also, while Andy Serkis does a great job as Alfred, when I think of the old Wayne Butler, Jeremy Irons will always come to my mind. I'm sorry, but Irons' Alfred was more involved with Affleck's Batman, both as a partner and a father, so he left more an impression on me than Serkis' Alfred did. Serkis' Alfred was too much father and not enough partner, so if we had more scenes with Alfred helping Bruce, I'm sure that this portrayal would have really stuck the landing with me. Hashtag release the Reeves cut. Yeah, he literally has like a 4-hour cut, so yeah, let's have that released. So yeah, Zack Snyder's interpretation of Alfred ultimately wins, but Reeves' interpretation is still great, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it. Moving on with that, we have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Now, I never really got into the character of Catwoman in past iterations, sorry Brown Table, but this film marks the first time that I was actively invested in Selena Kyle on her journey. She has her own mission too in this film, and oftentimes she and Bat's mission would clash, to some comedic degree. She has her own stake in this noir detective adventure, and that's brilliant. I definitely felt that their chemistry throughout this film was perfect, and I'm personally very sad that they went their separate ways. Now, there was a moment when they were both riding in motorcycles that I thought that Batman had changed his mind, but nope. Oh well, at least he'll come back for the sequel, right? Right? And then we have the Riddler, played by Paul Dano. Is it wrong to say that I think this performance is on par with Heath Ledger's Joker? Yes, really. This portrayal of the Riddler is absolute perfection. Thinking about him now, just after watching the movie, gives me chills. It's the same sort of deal. Both Ledger's Joker and Dano's Riddler want to expose the corruption of Gotham City, but where Joker and Riddler differ is in the execution of their plans. Whereas Joker wanted to break Gotham's elite and the people by, quote-unquote, exposing their true natures, the Riddler wanted to break Gotham's elite by killing those who he sees as corrupt. It's like Batman if he didn't decide to fight crime and instead engage in it to accomplish a personal goal. Riddler thinks what he's doing is justice, and he even said that Batman inspired him. And Batman thinks he's doing justice too, but he's more focused on vengeance in this film, which I will touch on in a bit. Plus, the Riddler has his own cult online, which is a big social media call out which I didn't see coming. It's very realistic as to how some sadistic serial killers would act. They like the reaction, they like the chaos and the fallout. Matt Reeves has gone on record to say that the Riddler was inspired by the Zodiac Killer, and I can really see the resemblance there. Is the Riddler better than Heath Ledger's Joker? No, not really. You'd be hard-pressed to find a villain that accomplishes that. But dang, does he come close. Speaking of Joker, we also have a Joker cameo in Arkham. Possible sequel tease? Matt Reeves doesn't seem to think so, but you never know. Warner Brothers might make him do it. I mean, not using Joker in this version of Gotham would be borderline criminal, no pun intended. What do you guys think? I know everyone's going nuts over Colin Farrell as Penguin, but I don't know. Aside from the big chase scene, the only thing I saw him as was red herring to keep the Riddler shrouded in mystery. And it worked. I was far more engaged by the Riddler than I ever did with Penguin. Maybe the upcoming Penguin series will win me over. And now let's talk about the music. What you've been hearing throughout this video is the main Batman theme, and it is absolutely perfect. Michael Giacchino did the music for this film, and once again, he has proven that he is the go-to guy for phenomenal superhero scores. Junkie XL, aka Tom Hulkenberg, is still god tier, but with the fate of the Snyderverse in limbo right now, Michael Giacchino will be a worthy replacement if Snyder's vision isn't completed. Every time I hear the Batman theme in action, I love it. Michael Giacchino uses music functions like paralleling action, generating emotion, showing character thoughts, creating setting, creating tone, and so much more. There are so many positive things I can say about this soundtrack. It is that good. His Bruce Wayne theme slash hopeful Batman theme is awesome too, although not as memorable in my opinion. The action was absolutely god tier. Basically, here's a riddle for you guys. It doesn't rhyme. What happens if you take the warehouse scene from Batman vs. Superman and put it on steroids? Well, you got this action. This is the best action in a standalone Batman film that I have ever seen in a long time. Speaking of hopeful Batman, what me and so many other reviewers took out of this movie was the ending. Spoiler alert, again. And what we associate Batman with is vengeance and justice. And this film directly calls this out. I mean, not the justice part, but the vengeance part. The whole film calls this out. The ending has Batman becoming a symbol of hope for Gotham. After a god-tier action scene in the stadium, where an assassination attempt on a mayor candidate, forgot her name already, by the Riddler's followers went down, the stadium floods, trapping the assembled people under a mountain of scaffolding, a pool of water, and rubble. And what does Batman do? Does he swing away to eradicate more of the Riddler's followers? Does he try and save the stadium from falling? No. Not even close. He stays and helps the survivors and trapped people get out by lighting a red flame torch. He leads the survivors out of the stadium, providing them hope. And it's all set to an emotional rendition of Giacchino's Bruce Wayne theme. And this brings his arc full circle. He realizes that vengeance is no longer what he wants to be. He aids in recovery efforts, and after breaking up with Selina Kyle, unfortunately, he vows to provide hope for a recovering Gotham. Batman becomes a symbol of hope and justice, and it's great. It's like Matt Reeves knew that we associated Batman with vengeance and flipped it on its head. Did I mention that Robert Pattinson is awesome as Batman? I'm pretty sure I did, but even still, I want more of it. There's a question as to whether future movies will continue to use the main Batman theme because of this. I don't think I can get behind future movies without that vengeance theme because it is perfect. The Bruce Wayne theme, as I said, is not that memorable as a Batman theme in my opinion. It's not terrible, bad, mediocre, or even okay. It's amazing. But when I think of this movie, the main Batman theme will always come to my mind. Bum, 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 bum. You know, that one. Maybe it'll grow on me with future watches. After all, this entire review is coming off after I have just seen it. There's bound to be a lot that I missed. This Batman movie has a really dark tone, and I love that. I'm a sucker for dark tones, and it looks like Rotten Tomato critics are already mad at that. That's one of the reasons why Zack Snyder's DC movies really resonate with me. Realism and dark tones are my go-to when watching superhero films. It gives them real stakes and helps them feel more grounded. Shout out to The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan for setting that precedence. So overall, The Batman is a phenomenal movie. I'm really sure that given time, it'll establish a new gold standard precedence, similar to how The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan set a precedence. I don't really want to be nice to Warner Brothers considering what they've done with their cinematic universe, but well done. Well done, Matt Reeves. You did it. You were able to give Batman what he has always needed throughout all his iterations. A detective movie about, well, the world's greatest detective. I really hope that DC sticks to your vision and doesn't axe it like they did with Zack Snyder due to the tone. As long as the rave reviews and box office success keeps coming, your trilogy will be a sure thing. As for all of you, please go see this movie and be amazed by its sheer scope and epic scale. 5 stars, 10 out of 10, A+, 100%, that's my rating. It could change later on, but it really was that good. Despite some tiny nitpicks or flaws that I pointed out, this is definitely a movie that will stick with me for a long time, and that I'll definitely watch again. If you don't want to take my word for it, then take a look at all the positive reviews and video essays out there. I mean, High Top Films, a huge Batman fan loves it. That's saying something. Well done, Robert Pattinson. Well done, Matt Reeves. Well done.